Leaked Ryan Reynolds voice memos exposed. It is so clear Blake's case is falling apart. She's destroying her cred. Ryan Reynolds, too.
We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are officially in meltdown mode. Their skeletons have been yanked out of the closet for the entire world to see, and the fallout has been nothing short of explosive. The leaked dirt exposes their desperation, hypocrisy, and the alarming lengths they were willing to go to smear Justin Baldoni. From laughable legal threats to scandals they assumed were buried forever, this once untouchable Hollywood power couple is watching their image crumble faster than their flimsy lawsuit. For years, Blake and Ryan were the golden duo, the perfect storm of charm, wit, and carefully crafted relatability. But now, that shiny facade is cracking wide open. The PR polish is wearing off, revealing a chaotic mess underneath. What was once a power trip has now morphed into a full-blown catastrophe. Every move they make reeks of frantic damage control, and the harder they try to patch it up, the worse it all gets. What began as a behind-the-scenes tantrum over It Ends With Us has snowballed into a scandal so chaotic it makes the Kardashians look like the royal family. Every desperate attempt to spin the narrative back in their favor has backfired in spectacular fashion. At this point, the only thing Blake and Ryan have successfully ruined is their own credibility. Leaked recordings, failed legal maneuvers, and a tidal wave of transparent desperation have obliterated their once flawless reputation. And honestly, watching the downfall unfold is pure, unfiltered entertainment. Then there's Hollywood's favorite puppet master, Ari Emanuel, CEO of WME and self-proclaimed savior of Blake and Ryan. This man thought he was being slick when he appeared on Freakonomics and took a childish jab, calling Baldoni Justin Boone like some 8th-grade bully stuck in his glory days. But here's where it goes from petty to outright shady. That episode? It's the only one in Freakonomics history that somehow wasn't recorded. No video. No audio. Just a suspicious void in the timeline, right where Ari openly admitted Baldoni was fired because Ryan and Blake pushed for it. Coincidence? Not a chance, but let's be real. Freakonomics has been producing interviews for 15 years without a single major technical issue. Thousands of guests, studio and remote sessions, all flawlessly recorded. But the one time a major Hollywood executive spills a little too much tea, suddenly the footage vanishes? The only thing missing from this ridiculous cover-up is an intern tripping over a cable and shouting, "Oops," like they're in a bad sitcom. But of course, because this scandal refuses to stay buried, a journalist leaked the audio anyway. And surprise, Ari Emanuel did, in fact, admit that he fired Baldoni under direct pressure from Reynolds and Lively. Even more hilariously, he called himself ride or die for them. Because nothing says objective business decision like acting like a Deadpool groupie while destroying someone's career behind the scenes. As if that weren't enough chaos. Now we've got the bizarre saga of Ryan Reynolds' voice memos. Out of nowhere, aggressive audio clips surfaced of Reynolds allegedly screaming at Baldoni, only for it to be revealed that the recordings were AI-generated. That's right. Someone, and let's be honest here, probably a swarm of panicked PR gremlins, thought it would be smart to handle the crisis by faking a whole new scandal within the scandal. It's like watching someone dig a hole, panic halfway through, then just keep digging faster, and ask yourself, who actually benefits from flooding the internet with obviously fake AI clips of Ryan Reynolds in a rage? Certainly not Team Baldoni. Because the second those clips were debunked, they handed Team Blake and Ryan the perfect out. See? The internet's full of lies. Now they get to lump every legitimate leak and recording into the same category as that AI nonsense and pretend it's all part of some conspiracy. But no one's buying it anymore. The damage is done. The cracks are visible. And the golden couple act? It's officially dead. The only people with any real motive to muddy the waters with fake dirt are Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. They were already being dragged by public opinion, so why not toss out some blatantly fake content to stir confusion? It's a classic misdirection strategy. Plant something obviously false, let it get debunked, then act like everything that comes out must be fake. If that was the plan, it failed spectacularly. Instead of hurting Baldoni, The stunt just made Ryan and Blake look more desperate. They had no real ammunition, so they allegedly turned to AI deepfakes, a move straight out of a rejected Black Mirror episode. Only this wasn't a high-tech villain orchestrating some genius master plan. No, this was a passive-aggressive actor from Vancouver who apparently can't cope with his wife being off-camera for more than 5 minutes. And the most ridiculous part? With all their fame, power, and connections, this was their grand plan, an AI hoax. That right there shows just how dire things have gotten for the Reynolds' lively PR machine. Every attempt to control the narrative has blown up in their faces. They've tried press manipulation, false scandals, even getting an entire podcast episode scrubbed from the internet. At this point, the cover-up is messier than the scandal, but here's what they didn't count on. People are seeing through it. No matter how many favors they cash in, how many articles they plant, or how many smear campaigns they coordinate, the truth keeps slipping through the cracks. And now, the once flawless image of Blake and Ryan, Hollywood's most relatable power couple, is crashing down. Turns out, underneath the charm is just a bitter, controlling duo scrambling to protect a reputation they destroyed themselves. Blake Lively really thought she could waltz into court, demand 2.5 years of someone else's personal data, and get it handed over like some A-list perk. But newsflash, she's not the FBI. And the judge saw right through it, shutting her request down immediately. Think about how unhinged you have to be to demand years of emails, texts, probably even DoorDash receipts, just hoping to find something, anything, to support your claims. Because let's be honest, if she had actual evidence, she wouldn't need to go on this pathetic fishing expedition. She's just blindly digging, hoping to stumble across something incriminating after the fact. And if she had gotten access, what exactly would she find? Baldoni texting heart emojis to his wife. A kombucha meeting confirmation? What's this smoking gun? Is she expecting to find a message that says, "Yes, I plan to ruin Blake Lively's life. Let's proceed with the evil plan"? If that's the level of logic we're working with, then yeah, things are even worse than we thought. And the court agreed. She couldn't even get 2 weeks' worth of messages, let alone 2.5 years. The judge shut it down fast because real lawsuits don't work like this. If she had a strong case, she wouldn't be building it backward, hoping to find proof after filing. You bring receipts first, not just throw subpoenas like confetti and hope something sticks. If this were a murder mystery, Blake would be the detective pointing at random people yelling, "It was you." All without a body, a crime, or a clue. At this point, she and Ryan should go back to overpriced gin and bland hair products, because courtroom drama? Definitely not their genre, and of course, Hollywood had to do what it does best. Smear campaign incoming. Suddenly, TMZ drags up an old, irrelevant lawsuit from 2021 trying to make Baldoni look shady. So, what was this scandal? A copyright dispute. That's it. Zero liability. Totally resolved. But TMZ spun it like Baldoni's own lawyer sued him for fraud or something. And here's the twist. That same lawyer, Brian Friedman, publicly defended Baldoni. He said Baldoni and his company acted ethically and honorably. Did TMZ put that in the headline? Of course not. They buried it. Because the goal wasn't the truth. The goal was to manufacture guilt and prop up Blake and Ryan's collapsing victim narrative. Let's not pretend this tactic is new. Hollywood always protects its insiders and throws outsiders under the bus. You really think TMZ, a known PR mouthpiece for celebs, just happened to dredge up a dead lawsuit right when Blake needed a distraction? Please. Someone on Team Lively made a call, and TMZ answered like the loyal lapdogs they are. And the most embarrassing part, even the hit pieces are flopping. Just like the lawsuits. Just like the deep fakes. Just like the desperate social media spins. It's all falling apart. When all their other tactics failed, they actually stooped to launching an online petition to have Justin Baldoni banned from SAG-AFTRA and the Producers Guild. Yes, you heard that right. After throwing everything they could legally and publicly, someone, wonder who, thought a change.org petition would be the final nail in Baldoni's coffin. Just take a moment to appreciate how absurd that is. How do you go from high-level legal threats and media posturing to the same platform used to bring back canceled TV shows? Now, I'm not outright saying Ryan Reynolds was behind it, but let's be real. The writing is on the wall. This reeks of the kind of passive-aggressive, wink-wink behavior he's made a career out of. Reynolds has built his entire persona on being that guy, the one who takes snarky jabs masked as jokes, the guy who turns bitterness into entertainment. And according to the ongoing lawsuit, he's been obsessed with getting Baldoni iced out of Hollywood. Let's connect some dots. Reynolds has a documented pattern of sabotaging Baldoni. He also has a track record of using humor and elaborate pranks as weapons. And then boom, a petition appears out of nowhere, trying to get Baldoni blacklisted, using the name of a fictional killer from a psychological thriller. That's not a coincidence. That's a signature. And no half-hearted apology or PR deflection is going to erase it. Even if Ryan wasn't directly responsible, it's crystal clear someone close to him took a page straight out of his playbook. The man is a master at spinning narratives through sarcasm and performance. But here's the thing, his team can't stand losing control of the narrative. So, when things started to unravel, they pulled one of the saddest, most desperate moves imaginable, a fake petition trying to cancel someone over nothing, using a creepy alias. No less, it's honestly pathetic. We've gone from Hollywood power couple to clumsy smear campaigns, fake AI clips, and laughable legal filings. It's like watching two spoiled rich kids throw tantrums because the world finally stopped giving them everything on a silver platter. Every single thing they do now just screams desperation, and that's the most telling part. They've tried planting articles, twisting legal angles, and launching anonymous online attacks. But people are finally waking up. The internet isn't buying the narrative anymore. Ryan and Blake have run out of moves, and now all they're left with is the mess they made. At this point, they might as well lean into it. Throw on some leather jackets, practice evil laughs, and embrace full villain mode. Because this hole where the innocent ones act, no one's buying it anymore. It's honestly just sad now, and let's rewind to the moment that really set this all off. Ryan Reynolds' now infamous talk show confession. The man stood in front of millions and told a story that most people wouldn't even whisper about. He described in explicit detail how he pulled off Olivia Wilde's top on set, got distracted by stickers on her chest, and did all this while 60-plus crew members looked on like it was some frat house hazing ritual, and somehow, he thought that was funny. He thought it was so funny. In fact, that he laughed about it, the host laughed, and the audience laughed too. No one paused to say, wait, this is disturbing. Because apparently in Ryan Reynolds' world, making jokes about publicly humiliating your co-stars is just business, as usual. Just another bit for the fans. And here's where it gets painfully hypocritical. This scandal is going viral at the same time his wife, Blake Lively, is actively suing someone over claims of sexual harassment. That's right. While she's in court fighting to prove she's been victimized, her husband is on national television casually describing behavior that would get any normal person fired instantly. It's hypocrisy at its peak, and people are finally calling it out. What once passed for charm and wit is now being exposed for what it really is. A carefully crafted image masking toxic patterns and unchecked ego. Let that sink in. Blake Lively is out here waving the banner of justice, painting herself as a victim of a ruthless industry. Meanwhile, her own husband, Hollywood's golden boy, has made casual on-air confessions about behavior that would get anyone else instantly fired in a normal workplace. So what gives? If Ryan Reynolds does it, it's brushed off as comedy, but if someone else crosses even a minor line, it turns into a full-scale legal battle? That double standard is hard to ignore, and let's not pretend the public is buying the PR spin. That resurfaced clip of Ryan sparked serious backlash, with fans and critics alike beginning to question the nice guy persona he's so carefully built. Let's face it, if this were someone else, this would have destroyed their career. But in typical Hollywood fashion, the industry is doing what it always does best, looking the other way and pretending nothing happened. The selective outrage is glaring. At the same time, Blake Lively's legal arguments are starting to crumble, and fast. Her entire case seems weighed down by its own hypocrisy. And if that weren't enough, her polished public image is beginning to unravel too.
Why?
Because former co-stars and industry professionals are finally breaking their silence and revealing what she's actually like behind the scenes. And spoiler alert, She's nothing like the down-to-earth sweetheart she plays in interviews. Crew members from the rhythm section have stepped forward, sharing their not-so-flattering experiences of working with Blake. Their stories paint a picture of someone cold, dismissive, and unwilling to even make eye contact with the people working around her. Imagine being so detached and self-important that you can't even acknowledge the crew paid to support your performance. That's not confidence, that's peak entitlement, but it doesn't stop there. Sources say Blake was so obsessed with her own safety and image that she insisted on having a bodyguard with her at all times, even on closed sets. What exactly was she afraid of? That someone might dare ask how she likes her coffee? This wasn't a top-secret government mission. It was a film set. But apparently, the thought of interacting with regular people was too much for Queen Blake to handle, and the backlash isn't limited to the crew. Co-stars have also spoken up, saying they found her difficult and unbearable to work with. One actor even claimed they realized they didn't like her just 10 minutes into shooting a scene together. That might just be a record. Imagine leaving such a bad impression that people are over you before lunch. Now, let's turn the spotlight back to Ryan Reynolds. According to past collaborators, working with him wasn't much better. One director described the experience as tense and frustrating, noting that Ryan's arrogance and insecurity made any sort of constructive feedback impossible. Instead of taking notes professionally, he reportedly became defensive and dramatic. The issue began when Ryan insisted on turning a serious role into a joke, despite being explicitly told not to. He was even warned, "Stop trying to be Jim Carrey. That's not what this character is." Rather than adapting, he reportedly threw a tantrum and stormed off set. The nerve! You're a relatively unknown actor, working with Oscar-level producers, and instead of listening to the pros, you throw a fit? That's not charm. That's entitlement. And don't forget, this was years before he hit it big. He wasn't famous yet, and he was already acting like a diva. So imagine how much worse it must be now, with a billion-dollar brand, global fame, and a wife who thinks she can drag half of Hollywood into court to win an argument. It's a recipe for a PR disaster, and make no mistake, this mess is far from over. If you thought the drama was done, think again. This is just the beginning. Like, share, and stay tuned, because every shady move they make will be right here, broken down for all to see. You won't want to miss what's coming next.